Happy Monday morning, folks. Welcome back to Sportsology. I am your host, RyanK. I hope you guys had a lovely weekend, got an opportunity to spend some time with friends and family. Most of you watching this are probably in the Wisconsin area close to me. We are looking forward to the nice weather this week. It's been very cold for the last couple weeks, a little snowy last week, so some nice warm weather is going to be phenomenal for us to enjoy. If you're new to the show, my name is RyanK. I am a technology solution specialist for a company called Enterprise Systems Group. So during the day, I do technology all day long, but then at nighttime, I switch over and I become a fantasy sports expert. It's basically my only hobby, so it's what I know, and I know it very, very well. If you got any questions on it, feel free to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions on either of the two areas or other two subjects I like to talk about. Sportsology is essentially just kind of a quick mashup of my two areas of expertise. Get on here, talk for 5 to 10 minutes. If I can share any opinions or facts with anybody they find interesting or helpful, that's great. If you can subscribe to this channel, it's probably the easiest way to get notifications, and it also helps spread me around YouTube, which appreciated. So we got early games on Monday today. Usually we don't have a lot of day games on Monday, but being that it's the beginning of the year, we still have a few. So a lot of the stuff will be predicated around there. And if you get the opportunity, good luck today and during your daytime matchups. And I wanted to say we're about a week into the MLB season now. I've been doing lots of tournaments and a few cash games. I would tell people stick to tournaments when it comes to baseball. The cash line between GPP and cash games on DraftKings right now, it's tiny. I mean, if it's going to take 113 to reach a cash line in a cash game or 117 to reach the cash line in a tournament, take the upside, play the tournament. Today, during the day, I like Jose Quintana of the Chicago White Sox up against the Twins. The Twins' bats have been relatively dead so far this year. They're striking out in bunches. So even though Quintana has a couple of guys who have hit him fairly well in the past, he's a nice, solid, consistent pitcher, and he gets a team that's struggling to make contact right now. Check out the Baltimore versus Boston team for offense. The winds are projected to be blowing out to left field at over 20 miles an hour today. So I really like righties, and I especially like righties from the Red Sox today. The Red Sox are going up against Baltimore's pitcher, Yovani Gallardo. Now, a lot of us are Wisconsin people, so remember Gallardo from here, from the Brewers. We also probably remember him giving up home runs in bunches. So if he loses his stuff today and doesn't have it, and he's getting the ball up in the zone, Boston might clobber a bunch of home runs out to left field today. So I think stacking Boston hitters would be a great tournament strategy for the day, given the pitcher and the winds blowing out. Now, another pitcher I'll be looking at through the daytime matchups is I'll probably be pretty heavy on Aaron Nola as well. He's a younger guy, so he's still a little bit of a relatively unknown, but he does have lots of upside. Now, the Padres bats came alive this weekend in Coors Field, but everybody hits in Coors Field. The series before, they didn't score a run, so this is not an elite offense, so I do like Aaron Nola today as well. I'll probably primarily run out Quintana and Nola. I'll sprinkle in a little David Price in case he's dominant today, but with the winds blowing out to left field and a few Baltimore hitters who have hit him fairly well, I probably won't get too heavy on that upper tier price. Mark Trumbo, specifically of the Baltimore Orioles, has hit Price fairly well. I believe he's something like 7 of 19 in his career off of him. I didn't look up the actual stats, but I saw he had a pretty good average. So Trumbo, it might be something to take a look at. Then if you're playing in the night games, Robinson Cano absolutely owns Colby Lewis, and he can be got. So I think Robinson Cano should be your second baseman for the nighttime matchups. Now, let's pivot over to technology. I want to talk a little bit about what's something that's extremely important in our modern world, and that is going to be security. If you think about like the Target credit card scam from last year, or there's just endless other stories about people hacking in, people being able to pass through the barriers or security and access data, which we don't want them to. Now, we work with a lot of school districts, healthcare, financial institutions. So a couple of the verticals like that, it is extremely important that people can keep that data secure. Nobody wants their medical records or financial records being passed around the world. I think that's pretty common sense right now. So I want to talk a little bit about ESG has gotten into more of the network security over the last year or so. And if I sound a little robotic right now, I am reading a little bit this. This is not a specific strength of mine, but in the world we live in, it is something that's important. So I do want to talk about it. So we're starting these ESG vulnerability assessments, and security measures are in the forefront these days, and to ensure business continuity and protection against cyber threats, identifying vulnerable and unsecure areas within the network are in most cases a costly and time-consuming process for any organization. Our goal is to help you with that, and like I said, not an area of expertise of mine, but I hear stories about people using, outside IP cameras and stuff like that to penetrate people's systems. So we want to help with that. Vulnerability assessments will be a big part of it, endpoint identification and discovery, internal, external penetration testing. And then the one area that I find the most interesting is going to be social engineering testing and procedures. One of the parts of this, and one of our internal experts talked about this, it was the fact that human beings are typically going to be the weakest link. Now, I don't what I mean by that is it's easy to get people to give you information they're not supposed to if you talk to them the right way. Now, I have a lot of experience in cold calling, and I can tell you that there are a lot of times I call into a company and they're not allowed to give me any information about who I'm looking for. Now that I know that, I call back again tomorrow and I can find ways to talk people into giving me the info. Now, that's something that's not overly critical, but another area I notice it is when we do cutover, and I've gone into financial institutions, school districts, you name it. And as long as I got a shirt on with a logo and like a badge that makes me look important, I have free reign of ability. I can go and do whatever I want. Now, I'm not going to, but you can see how easy it would be for somebody who's, excels in that area. If you act as if you are okay to be there, you will generally be able to get away with almost anything. So that's when they talk about social engineering, and human beings kind of the weakest point of it. So that's a little bit about vulnerability assessments. If you got any questions on that, send me an email and we can set up a time where you can talk to one of our actual experts on that and they can give you a few more details. So hope that was informative. Have a wonderful day and I will talk to you tomorrow.